Welcome to the newly launched Friday Spotlight, a new series of X-Forces Enterprise podcasts. I'm Ren Kapur, founder and chief executive at X-Forces Enterprise, and as a reservist for the British Army, my favourite military motto is leave no one behind. And I think this sums up perfectly our aims and objectives of the podcast, where our community is supporting the community. Since 2013, X-Forces Enterprise has been helping members of the military community to start their business journey through training, mentoring, funding, and ongoing support and connections. This new series shines a light on our X-Forces Ambassador network and business champions. These amazing individuals from all over the UK have been hand-selected to support others. With their unique backgrounds, business experience combined with their military skills has stood them in good stead in the business world. Here, they generously share their expertise and experiences with the community. We hope you enjoy the episode. In today's episode, Dan talks to Lee Harris-Hamer, X-Forces Ambassador and owner of White Horse Cleaning Services. I've had the pleasure of working with Lee and also running the initial training program when he first met X-Forces Enterprise. It was straight away that you can see this infectious smile, and he's so full of enthusiasm. One thing that really resonated for me and also is illustrative about his growth is that he really cares for people, and this comes across when he shares some of his views about his team and the clients he works with. Lee's actually one of our youngest entrepreneurs who has quite a few people working for him. So he's actually had to learn hands-on, on the job, and has taken a lot of advice from others. But also the real special thing about Lee is that he's always wanting to share that knowledge back. I really hope you enjoy listening to his journey from a professional and personal perspective.
Welcome to the XFE podcast. Today we have special guest Lee Harris-Hamer, Managing Director of White Horse Cleaning Services and an X-Forces Enterprise Ambassador for the North East region. Welcome, Lee. Great to have you on the podcast.
Hi, Dan. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Good. So Lee, so far this series, I've spoken to a lot of our newer X-Forces ambassadors, but you've actually been part of the XF team for almost a year now, which is fantastic. And we'll delve deeper into that a little bit later. Firstly, it would be great if you could give people an insight into your background and talk us through the inspiration and early stages of your company. So how did White Horse Cleaning Services start, and what was the inspiration or motivation behind starting the company?
So White Horse Cleaning Services started back in 2006. I was medically discharged from the military and hadn't a clue what I was going to do. And what do you do? Like, I had a family to support. I had a 3-year-old and I was married, and needed to earn an income to support them. So I started out as a carpet cleaner originally. So I got some funding from the Army Benevolent Fund to go on some courses and buy some machinery, which was really, really helpful. And basically there's a massive white horse on the hill where we live. So I picked my logo and my name because it's relevant to the area. It's free marketing, so every time somebody drives past the white horse, boom, they hopefully remember my company, and it seems to be working, to be honest. So it's it was, like I say, we initially started out as a carpet cleaning company, and that didn't really take off, to be honest, because there's a guy who's so good in this area, and his reputation is massive. So we got approached to do somebody's clean where there's moving out, and ready to hand back to the estate agents. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I don't really want to do cleaning because you think it's cleaning as being like a very feminine job. And then my wife was like, look, we need to pay some bills. and it's a great opportunity. It's another income. Why not? So we gave it a go. And then she was that impressed. She asked us to start cleaning the house on a weekly basis. And then her mum asked, and then their friends asked. And then before we know it, we needed to take on our first employee after 6 months of trading, or about 4 months of trading. So that's how we established ourselves.
Nice. The power of word of mouth, I guess. What are some things since then that you're sort of personally proud of, or any kind of milestones along the way?
So 6 months after trading, I got given a real good opportunity. So I went to clean this guy's house. It was just me and this other girl at the time. And she was just doing as and when. She was semi-retired. And we went to clean this guy's house, not knowing who he was or what he did, because I don't really ask questions. And he was that impressed. He called me. I was like, "Oh gosh, here we go. Our first complaint. What we're gonna do?" And he was that impressed. He said, "Could you come to my offices?" So I was thinking, yeah, just a 2-hour weekly clean at an office. And 4 weeks later, I signed a five-figure sum to undertake the cleaning of his factories, and it's an international company that provides food processing, and we do about 500 hours. We have 3 full-time staff there undertaking the work, and we do the grounds, and basically it's basically like a facilities management contract there now and stuff. So that was really proud, and 4 years on we still have that contract, and he's still happy as he was day one. So for me, that's really, really proud. And then secondly, the proudest point is just being able to employ staff and give people the opportunities in the local area. For me, for them to be able to feed their families and me to be able to afford their wages is an achievement. And I think under the current circumstance, I think getting through COVID, still having a business on the other side 4 months later, and being able to keep our business running with all the overheads, I think that's an achievement for anybody. In my eyes. So they're my 3 biggest achievements, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. You said you were proud of being able to employ people, and before the call you said that you're now employing 28 people, which is great. And after your first 6 months, you employed your first person. How did the expansion go after that? How quickly were you starting to employ people?
So it was basically down to my concept and my marketing, basically. So what I did was my principle was, right, I was very hands-on. At this time, we didn't have an office. It was run from my home. We had 1 vehicle, and I and this girl would build a roundup. So I'd market, do consultations, build that roundup, and then when we had enough hours, between 20 and 40 hours, we'd employ people to take on that round. Then we'd pass that round on, leave them to it, as long as we train them in management and meet the client's expectations. And we just did that for four rounds, basically. And then evening work started to come in. So it's, and then like, obviously we had this contract to manage, and then we got other big private estates. So it's all in the market, really. And it's meeting, my massive thing is, so there's 2 things really, customer perception from customers and staff. So how does the staff perceive us? Can we improve? And how does the clients perceive us? And can we improve? And I think all the time we're asking them 2 questions, it allows us to market. And again, the word of mouth is incredible, because you manage the client's expectations, then they tell their friends, and then somebody comes into their office. You never know who you're going to meet, really. So that's how we continue to expand.
Definitely. So if we track back a little bit, you've obviously got a military background. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about your experience in the military and the kinds of values and life skills you've gained from having served.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I served 8 years in the Royal Artillery. So I joined when I was 17, and I left when I was 24. And them 8 years were the best times of my life. I met some incredible people, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about myself, and it taught me a lot about life. And it gave me some great skills while serving. You know, you get leadership, situation awareness, teamwork, problem solving, resilience, self-belief and integrity. So they're just a number of things you get. You find out I'd done 2 tours of Afghan, and it allowed me to travel the world. If I didn't get injured, I would still be in there today. I really, really would, because I loved it that much. And it gives you routine. Routine's massive for me. So it gives you routine, you know, and it also gives you security. So like in this, on the outside world, security, nobody has security, nothing's secure. You can always lose your job. You can always be made redundant, or the clients may leave. If you're in business, your business may be struggling due to cash flow and stuff like that. So in the army, you didn't have any of that. You turned up, you did what was required, then you went, you know, and as long as you did it to your best of your ability, nobody asks questions. Well, out here, it is a dog-eat-dog world.
Do you think that security is something that you've tried to instill in your company now for your employees?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I wake up every morning and the question I ask is, how can I get more hours for my staff? So there's a huge pressure on my shoulder, because if they don't have the work, they are not going to meet their hours, which means they're probably going to end up being unemployed. So we have to literally be at the top of our game, especially in the cleaning industry. There's a lot of competition, so you have to be at the top of your game all the time, improving all the times, because it's you need them hours for your staff. So yes, we have contracts in place and stuff like that, but if you're rubbish, people aren't going to have you, you know, which means your staff aren't going to get their hours, which they won't get paid. So security is absolutely massive. And yeah, so so we have a lot of targets in place that allows us to do that. And I have a fantastic coach called Jamie, who's incredible, and he's allowing me to keep rolling too. It's good.
Okay, cool. So coming into the present day, you're now an X-Forces Enterprise Ambassador. Could you talk a bit about when your first point of contact with X-Forces was?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So 6 months after trading, as you're aware, I signed this huge contract, and it required us to put £16,000 up front in staff wages alone, because it was on a 60-day payment term, and obviously you needed that cash flow for products and stuff like that. After 6 months of trading, who has £16,000 in their bank cash flow just to give out? Absolutely nobody. So we didn't. Yes, we was a startup company, but we didn't approach X-Forces at the beginning of our journey. We approached X-Forces to help us grow, basically. So we needed some funding, so we asked for a startup loan and also the mentoring. I also went on a masterclass course with Ren and Martin too, up at the Health Hero Centre. That gave me a great insight into what they do, and yeah, so that's how we met X-Forces.
How did you find that 12 months mentoring with Dax?
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. It was really, really good. There was a couple of times where I needed some questions answered. So being in business, it can be really lonely, especially if you don't come from a business mind family. And sometimes family and friends are not the people you want to ask. So sometimes you just need that person to ask who gets it, you know. But also being X-Forces and a military community, you want somebody who gets you too, because not a people get that, and so it allowed me to just have somebody on the back burner to say, look, I need some help. I need this question answered. What's the best way to do this? You know, and that was massive for me. So it just means that you've got contacts and you're not on your own.
Yeah, bounce ideas off and get some questions answered. Definitely.
Absolutely.
So as we've said, you are an X-Forces ambassador, and you have been for a year now. For people that may not know what that involves, one of the main roles of an ambassador is to host networking events for the military and business community, where entrepreneurs with a military background can come together and connect and support each other. Lee, you've got the unique perspective of having experienced our networking events move from in-person events to a virtual space. How have you found that transition?
Yeah, so it's been interesting, to be honest. I'm a very sociable person, so face-to-face networking means it's great. You can sell yourself, to have to what we now probably think is a little bit strange, but a handshake goes a long way. Hi, I'm Lee, goes a massive long way. And also they say it takes around 2 minutes. In the first 2 minutes, you make an impression of a person, where on a virtual one, you haven't got that handshake. You are in front of a screen, but with virtual, we found that more people, it's easier accessible. So I live in quite a rural place, in North Yorkshire, in the northeast, quite rural. So you have to travel a little bit. And so where people that couldn't make it because of the traveling and work commitments and stuff like that, then was able to make it through virtual. And it's great to see that the same people are coming back time and time again, as well as when it went to virtual, we had somebody up in Cumbria, and you're able to do a whole wider demographic, where when it's face to face, it's a very small demographic. I think they both work really, really well, it gives a great insight.
Yeah, that's one of the big benefits that we found, breaking down that geographical barrier of travel and stuff, and also being able to get more of the ambassadors onto each other's events and support each other. That's been really cool.
And it's also your audience of like guest speakers and stuff like that. You can have a wilder range because we had the guy who was, I think he was the managing director of the startup loans company, and he worked for he was the managing director of the British Bank and startup loans company, and where before we probably couldn't get him into North Yorkshire, where virtually he was able to come in and give a great speech. And if we want like the MP for Veterans Affairs, it's hopefully we can get him online and stuff where he wouldn't just do probably a 4-hour trip for a 2-hour event. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the guest speakers we've had are awesome so far. So hopefully we can keep getting some great speakers on. Generally speaking, how much importance do you put on networking? Obviously, you spoke on the importance of even just a handshake, but when thinking about like the growth of your company and.
So for me personally, I think networking is key, but it's not just networking events. It could be networking in Tesco's. It could be networking on the dog walk. You never know who you're going to meet. So I've actually got some very successful contracts through people I've met in Tesco's, people I've met on the dog walk. My very first contract, I met the director on the dog walk.
No way.
And obviously networking, I think the more people you have in your network and the more interaction you do with everybody and make people aware of who you are, it's people talk. Another one of my contracts, it was because I went in to a building supplies to get something, and he said, who are you? And I was in uniform. He said, you own White Horse Cleaning Services? I was like, yeah. Somebody asked him, do you know a cleaning company? He was like, yeah, I've never used them, but White Horse Cleaning Services. That was 2 years ago, still got the contract. You never know who you're going to meet in any situation, but networking is key.
Nice. Always be prepared.
And it allows you to build your personal brand. So take your business aside, it allows you to build your personal brand, because I think that you need two brands in business. You need your personal and you need your business.
Definitely. Some great advice there, I think. Finally, I want to bring it to the present day as we find ourselves in this unprecedented pandemic situation. How has that been for you and your business? We talked a little bit beforehand about how you've managed to get nearly everyone back now. Have you had to adapt along the way?
Yeah, so if I rewind back to February, we looked at our business plan, we looked at our structure of our business, and we made the decision to get rid of all our domestic clients. So we got rid of 217 clients altogether, because financially it wasn't working for me. It wasn't working for my company. 80% of my stress was coming from 20% of my clients, and that 20% was all the domestics. So we made decisions. So from the 1st of March, we will have no domestics, and unfortunately, we had to go through redundancies. But it was a personal choice that they wanted to take redundancy rather than going elsewhere. And so that happened at a crucial time for us, because if we still had all them clients on the 23rd of March when we closed the business down, we would probably be not here today through the financial situations. So on the 3rd of March, we went into lockdown. We closed the company other than one client, which is, as we said, is the food processing place. So they had to keep England fed. So they worked all through, which was grand, because that was able to pay my overheads and their wages. Job done. And then we relied on the furlong for the other 25 staff that we have. So it was a tough time, a lot of planning, a lot of worry, you didn't really know what curveball, because it's so unprecedented. Nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew if they was going to come out at the start. Nobody knew if they was going to come out at the other end. So when it started calming down a little bit, on the 11th of June, on the 1st of June, we decided that, right, we're opening back up. We can get enough PPE, we can get enough of the right product, and we're going to slowly integrate our services back in, because there were still clients that needed us, but were happy to go on the back burner because obviously the risk was too high. So we done all the risk assessments, we looked at all the risk involved, and we decided that we were going to start bringing staff back in. And we've done it gradually. So we brought one staff member in, then we brought another 2 in, and slowly built it back up, lone working, then team working and stuff like that, which in this job we can do. And also, we was able to keep the social distancing between the staff and bubbles. So we basically used bubbles and put people in bubbles. So if that bubble goes poorly, and there's loads of planning that's gone involved, and it's been quite successful as we speak. So in the big contract we had, we didn't have one case of corona or symptoms in that place, and there's about 600 staff in the factory. Which I think was very, very impressive. And I do sincerely put that down to the great staff, the cleaning staff, because they worked really, really hard to keep that factory going. So fast forward to now, our last staff member is coming back in on the 11th of August off furlong. Other than that, everyone is back and everyone is fighting fit, which is good. Nice. And we seem to be now at the same stage we was back in March, which we are very, very happy with. So yeah, it is all good at White Horse Cleaning Services.
Great. Well, it's good to hear that the company's still doing really well and everyone's safe and nearly back to work. Thanks so much for talking to me on the pod today. It was great to have you on and hear how things have been going and to get some insights into your role as an XFE ambassador. We're really excited for your next networking events. People can find out more by following the XF social media channels and visiting our Eventbrite page. Just before we go, where can people find you online, and where could they find out more about White Horse Cleaning Services?
So personally, they can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter. And business-wise, you can find us on LinkedIn, Twitter and Instagram too. And we also have a website, which is www.whitehorsecleaningservices.co.uk, where we have a blog on there too. So feel free to come and have a browse.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thanks, Lee. And to everyone listening, be sure to check out Lee's next networking event.
See you all then.
Our X-Forces Ambassador Network and business champions are absolutely fundamental to the Armed Forces community, imparting their knowledge to those looking into self-employment through our networking events and through our Knowledge Exchange Hub. The Hub is free to register and gives you access to a database of articles, the opportunity to match up with other entrepreneurs, plus access to all our free training and networking events. Sign up today at xfehub.com. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast. You can find us on all the usual social media channels as well as at x-forces.com. Wishing you all the very best until the next episode.